Hi, I'm Cameron and welcome back to Cameron's Country. In today's video I'm going to be putting my handmade English walking boots to the ultimate test. I'm going to be taking them all the way up to the top of Pen-y-ghent. Pen-y-ghent is one of Yorkshire's Three Peaks. It's just under 700 metres tall. To some that might not sound that tall, but to me, someone who's grown up in East Anglia, where a small mound feels like a mountain, it's going to be a pretty significant climb. So we're going to see how we get on, and we're going to see if the Barker boots are up to the test. Barker shoes are made in the county of Northamptonshire in the East Midlands of England. They've been made there since around 1880, I believe, and they're still made with pretty traditional methods to this day. A lot of sort of technical skill involved in making them and traditional processes, which I really like. I've had these boots for over 4 years, probably about 4.5 years now, and they're definitely my most worn pair. I would estimate in that time I've probably done about 2 million steps in them, so they're certainly well worn. As a result, I've actually recently had them resold because the old soles are really worn out and they're looking really fresh and nice and ready for a proper fell walk as I am now. As I mentioned, Pen-y-ghent is one of Yorkshire's Three Peaks, the other two being Ingleborough and Whernside. Pen-y-ghent is the shortest of the three, but not by much, and it's still a formidable looking mountain. The Three Peaks and the other Yorkshire Dales are all ancient mountains, about 4 to 5 times as old as the Himalayas. They are made of carboniferous limestone that was laid down around 300 to 350 million years ago, so very old indeed. Although originally they were much taller, perhaps amongst the tallest mountains in the world. Over hundreds of millions of years they've been eroded down by the elements and ice into their current distinctive shapes. The path here is pretty well walked and well kept, as it's part of the official Three Peaks walk, which goes up Pen-y-ghent, Whernside and Ingleborough respectively. The whole walk is about 24 miles, and people who aim to do the whole thing tend to aim to do it in under 12 hours. I think the record is something crazy like 3.5 hours, maybe 4, something like that, which is crazy fast, given it's a marathon nearly that includes 3 mountains. I prefer to tackle it in a more Wainwright style. Alfred Wainwright was one of the most famous fell walkers, and he always said it's not a race, it's about enjoying the walk, enjoying being out in the outdoors where it's nice and peaceful and there's beautiful scenery. So yeah, it's not about doing it as fast as you can, but more enjoying your time whilst you're out here. At least that's for me. Although I certainly wouldn't say it's not impressive how fast some people are able to go up these mountains. So we're about halfway up the mountain now in terms of, I guess, total distance and height. But we've still got that main crag to go. You can see behind me the steep section where it curves upwards. That's where the path goes, and there's a bit of a scramble. So I'm going to get to that and see how we get on. Being out like this does make me think of one of the really great things of being in England, being in the UK, and that is the thousands and thousands of miles of public footpaths we have and access land we have for walking. I think there's something like 180,000 miles of footpaths in England alone. So there's several lifetimes worth of fantastic rural country to explore. From here, I continued following the path up to the gate, which you can just see on the horizon. There's a small gap. And then I turned left to head up the mountain properly and up towards the scramble. As you can see here, there is a signpost that is the marker for the Pen-y-ghent Way. The walk partially follows the Pen-y-ghent Way, and you're already sort of reaching the ridge of the mountain at this point. There's a really fantastic view. And at this point, I'd also reached the snow line as well, so it's beginning to get pretty icy. So, As you may be able to tell, it's pretty windy up here. I'm halfway up the scramble element. I've done the first bit down there behind me, but I've got the second bit to go. Let's see how I get on. I've sped this bit up so you can see my route up to the second scramble. The side of the mountain's pretty steep on the right hand side, which was a little hairy in the wind, but the boots had plenty of grip, so that wasn't too much of a problem. The path's really good quality, being the Three Peaks path. It is really well maintained, and the stone steps were greatly appreciated in the icy conditions. The park itself, for a bit of history, was first created. The National Park of the Yorkshire Dales was first created in 1954, and it really is a jewel of England, in my opinion. It contains some of our most beautiful landscapes, and I think there's definitely good reason that many people refer to Yorkshire as a county, which obviously includes the Dales, as being God's own county. So here you can see the view from just below the scramble. I didn't film climbing up it because I wanted both hands free, as you do need to occasionally grip the stones, but it's not too difficult. With the boots on once again, I had plenty of grip. Okay, so we've completed the scramble. As you can see, I'm sort of tilting my head, trying to stop my hat blowing off. But you can see the peak of the mountain behind me. We're right up above the snow line now, and it's just really beautiful. So let's make the final push and get to the top. For the last section, the ice had been cleared off the path, so it was pretty easy going. It was very windy and cold. I think the forecast was saying -6 with the wind chill, so I was looking a little dishevelled with my hat to the side, but it felt really good getting up to the top. And as you'll see, despite the conditions, I had some really nice views. So here we are at the trig point at the top of Pen-y-ghent, just under 600 metres above sea level. It's a bit cloudy, but I do have some view going on, and it just feels really great to be up here in the snow. The ice on the wall behind me is incredible, the way it's been windswept. And it's just fantastic to know you're high above the rest of the countryside around you. On a sunny day, like I said, you can see all the way to the sea. But I think today the sort of hazy mistiness has a magic all of its own. You might wonder why a lot of high points, mountains, hills, and generally elevated areas have these small square stone blocks on top of them. Well, they're called trig points. Trig stands for trigonometry. Before the time of sat-nav and GPS and all that sort of thing, they were used for cartography, making maps. People who made maps had to climb them all the way to the top, and they could use the trig point to calculate the distance to landmarks that they could see from the elevated position. So we've now crossed over to the other side of that little windbreak on top of the mountain, and we're going to begin our journey down. There's one more exciting point to stop off on the way though. The journey down the mountain is quite a bit smoother than the way up, so if you did want to ascend Pen-y-ghent without the scramble, then this is the way that you can ascend as well. The views are fantastic, looking down onto the Ribble Valley, and you can see the village of Horton-in-Ribblesdale as well. One of the best ways to access all of the Three Peaks, including Pen-y-ghent, is via the train station in Horton-in-Ribblesdale, which is on the Settle to Carlisle Railway. This section of the walk, as you can see, was pretty icy, and a lot of the ice had been compacted by various people treading it down over time, but the boots coped really well. I was just sure to make sure that I had a good grip on each step heading down. Looking back at the mountain, you can really see just how incredible it is, and I think this is one of the best views, especially with that sky, and it really is worth the effort to get out here. My final stop was Hull Pot, which is England's largest pothole. It's a cave which has had a roof that has collapsed. Now it's open to the air. Because of the limestone of the Yorkshire Dales, there are loads of caves underneath the ground. That's another activity that people engage in, is caving, although that's not quite to my tastes. So we're now back from Pen-y-ghent, and I think the boots really performed well. I wasn't cold at all, despite that -6 wind chill. I also had my thick walking socks on, which helps as well. I was very comfortable, no discomfort or blistering. And that's the thing with leather shoes, because I've had them so long, they've really molded to my feet, and you just can't get much more comfortable than that. In case you're interested in doing the walk yourself, I will put a picture of the map up so you can see the route. And as you can see with the boots here, they are a bit scuffed up and muddy from the rocks, but I will be polishing them back up and getting them looking just as good as new very soon. And maybe I'll do a video on that as well. So watch this space. But for now, thank you very much for watching. Please do consider subscribing if you enjoyed the video, and I will see you again very soon. Bye for now.